the iconic, classic tuner cars are becoming more and more expensive every decade. Today, we're counting down 5 cheap, underrated tuners that have managed to avoid the price hike. All of these vehicles are fun to drive, capable around a racetrack, and easy to modify. Coming in at number 5 is a second-generation Subaru WRX, a highly capable, turbocharged rally racing car straight from the factory. The WRX is an iconic car, and some variations do cost a lot of money. But there is one very fun, exciting model that usually gets overlooked, and as a result, it's still affordable. The second-generation Bug-Eye.
My name is Winter, and I drive a 2002 Subaru WRX. For my suspension, I'm on Fortune Auto coilovers, the 500 series, STI hood scoop, rear diffuser, front lip. I have ATI wheels, a bunch of cob parts, an access port. I've got a bunch of pipe work done to it for the exhaust. There's a turbo shield and extension, a intercooler hose kit. My friends have Subarus, and they're the ones who got me into them. Hers has like 500 plus horsepower to the wheels, and I was like, okay. So they sent me this, and then I bought it. First and foremost, I want to say it's a bumpy ride. It's a really stiff ride. It's on Fortune Auto coilovers. Bump. They really tightened the suspension up, which is fine because I like it. I mean, other than the wheels, I'm not really sure what else I'd want to do. Maybe a new wing. Not sure what kind of wing though. I think I want to do something like ducktail.
Unlike a typical V-shaped or inline engine, the cylinders in the WRX lay flat, so the center of gravity is lower. On top of that, it's all-wheel drive, so this rally-focused tuner can handle the corners like nobody's business.
Frickin' mint, bro. Mint, bro. Did some damage. I am sad.
The Bug-Eye WRX is a great little car that was quite literally designed for racing. It's fun, it's fast, and there's a lot of aftermarket support, so you've got a ton of options for customization. Automotive culture has a sort of love-hate relationship with the Mitsubishi Eclipse. It's not fast at all from the factory, and the little car gets squirrely and hard to handle around the corners. On top of that, it's pretty much the cheapest tuner car on the market, and so naturally it tends to find itself on the butt end of the joke. On the other hand, an entire generation of car lovers grew up watching Brian O'Connor slide his bright green Eclipse around Los Angeles. So, despite all the jokes, a lot of us do have a little bit of a soft spot for the funky Mitsubishi. A few years ago, that soft spot won me over. I realized you could pick up a second generation Eclipse for only $1,000, so I thought, why not? Turns out the little car was extremely fun. It wasn't fast and it didn't handle particularly well, but it embodied everything we know and love about 90s Japanese tuner cars. Just sitting in the thing makes you feel like a street racer. The interior wraps around the driver, and the 5-speed manual transmission is a blast to shift through. They're also very easy to work on and modify. Most of the components are easy to reach and the parts are not too expensive. Mine had the 2-liter 420A engine. It made about 140 horsepower and went from 0 to 60 in 8 to 9 seconds, meaning it's easily the slowest car on our list today. But mine was only $1,000. Some of the higher model Eclipses are actually pretty fast. If you can find one, they made a turbocharged all-wheel drive version. This one had the 4G63 engine and made over 200 horsepower. Nothing you do to an Eclipse will make it handle exceptionally well. But a modified GSX can be turned into a genuinely fast monster on the drag strip. The Mitsubishi Eclipse is a fun, exciting little tuner car. It's not the most powerful vehicle from the factory, but it harnesses the spirit of a true 1990s import tuner. The Mazda Miata in itself is a very controversial car. It's fun and it handles well, but it's severely underpowered, and it is definitely not the manliest looking car on this list. The second generation specifically has managed to stay under the radar throughout the years, and it's still relatively inexpensive. This rear-wheel drive convertible roadster can still be bought for just a few $1,000s.
Dude, I feel like that's 40. That makes 40 really fun.
Yeah.
Weighing in at just over 2,300 pounds, it's a pretty tiny car. It's equipped with an equally tiny 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine that puts out about 140 horsepower. Now you're probably thinking, okay, well that doesn't sound that fast. You're absolutely right. It's not that fast. From the factory, this car takes about an hour to get from 0 to 60. The fact that it's such a lightweight car makes it a really fun driving experience. The manual transmission and rear-wheel drive combo are a blast around the corners. It's a really spirited machine. I'm a muscle car guy, and I'll admit, I used to be a Miata hater. But until you sit down and really drive one of these cars, you're just not gonna get it. It's less like driving a car, and more like playing with a go-kart. Alright, I get it. I get it.
The MX-5 is a fun little roadster, and though it lacks raw horsepower, it's very lightweight and pretty quick around the corners. We're gonna recommend upgrading your air intake and fuel delivery. Get an ECU tune and install a custom exhaust to give your MX-5 a little more kick. Coming in at number 2 on our list is a very popular Japanese luxury sedan that we never got here in the USA. It was called the Nissan Gloria. These cars were big, comfortable, and surprisingly fast. These days, they're old enough to legally import into the United States. In the world of JDM imports, the Gloria has found itself overshadowed by the more popular tuners, which is actually a good thing if you want one of these. It's a relatively cheap car to import. Under the hood, the car had a few different engine options. They offered diesels and multiple small gas engines. But we've got to recommend the turbocharged 3-liter V6. It made a respectable 250 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. The Gloria is a big, beefy sedan, and that extra horsepower really makes you feel like you're driving a proper luxury car. The interior, while certainly dated, is very high quality. You can see that Nissan's team put a lot of care and effort into building this vehicle. There's a ton of space on the inside, especially for a Japanese car. It is a proper, full-sized luxury sedan. Special thanks, of course, to our friends at Showstoppers Georgia, who let us film their sweet customized Gloria. This car was built for executives and VIPs. It's a pretty high-end vehicle, but because it didn't have the same level of international fame as some of the other tuners, you can still pick one up pretty cheap. It is a relatively heavy car. It's not really built for carving out the corners, but the Gloria is a capable performer. You've got some great engine options, and you can pull a lot of power out of these cars if you want to. If speed is what you need, get the NISMO version and upgrade the turbo system. The Gloria is a nice, right-hand drive JDM sedan that's sure to put a smile on your face. Before we move on to our number 1 underrated tuner car, it's time for the honorable mentions. The Toyota MR2 is an awesome little classic with an engine that sits back behind the driver. And the Infiniti G35 is a competent luxury sports car that would make for a great tuner project. Now, let's move on to what we think is the ultimate, cheap, underrated Japanese tuner car. Coming in at number 1 on our list today is a spunky front-wheel drive coupe called the Scion TC. It's capable, it's reliable, and the styling is undeniably cool. The roof is made of glass, and the shape of the TC totally captures the essence of the automotive counterculture we saw in the 2000s. Toyota built these cars specifically for the tuner crowd. They were fully aware that the TC was going to be modified heavily, and as a result, they made it easy to work on and fun to drive.
is a lot of noise from the engine and the exhaust. Overall, the car is not bad. It feels really smooth and direct, ready to go. And when you get on the power, it's there and ready to go as well. What we have here is the second gen Scion TC. Years rated from 2011 to 2013. Just a little over 60,000 of these units were produced for the US, and they come with a 2.5 liter inline 4, making a little bit over 160 horsepower and 176 foot-pounds of torque. That's not bad for a car that weighs just a little bit over 3,000 pounds. This particular one here is a 6-speed manual, but you can also find these cars in the 6-speed automatic. Now the car, like I said, only has about 160 horsepower. So you really got to be in those high RPMs in order to really feel it go anywhere outside of normal cruising. Right now we're sitting at about 2,500 RPM, and I can tell that the car needs to do more, especially when I get onto it. Now if I were to shift back up and get up to about, let's say, 35 to 4, the car would really start to take off. Now as far as steering goes, the car feels nice and direct. I'm pointing it exactly where I want it to go. The steering is quick and responsive, and the car does not sway too much due to the coilover system. I actually took this car to Tail of the Dragon not too long ago and was competing with Mercedes and the like. The car's a lot more horsepower and a lot better design than this one. So I can't complain too bad. It bites and it turns very well and is able to keep grip through those front tires. All in all, I'd say this car is a great buy. It's small, peppy, and perfect for you guys just starting out or looking for just a quick daily driver.
The Scion TC is an excellent choice for a tuner car build. They handle modifications well, and you can take the project in just about any direction. It sounds cool, it's got a lot of style, and it's a performer in the corners. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and check out our channel for more cool car videos. Thank you for watching The Left Pedal.